That's right, folks. It's the 2025 year in review, The Golden Talks, with your hosts, Bryce Hanson and Max Allen. We're going to review the year in review, the best and worst horror movies that we've reviewed, and the best and worst horror movies that came out in 2025. So strap in and welcome to the 2025 Golden Talks.
The Golden Talks. I thought they were called the Talkies.
That's different. That's completely different. Anyways, welcome to the 2025 The Golden Talks, completely different from the Talkies, because the Talkies were a lot more effort. So the Golden Talks are the low effort version of the year in review. We're just going to discuss the movies that came out this year, the best and worst, our top fives, the bottom fives for the year, the new releases, as well as any movies that we reviewed this year. Before we get started, I'd just like to point out that Sydney's not with us. We announced this in, I think, an afterpod that we've already released, but to the general public, Sydney is not going to be with the show anymore. Sydney decided that he wanted to separate from the show, and we wish him the best of luck in any other endeavors. In terms of his top and bottom, I know that he released a reel on Instagram if you're interested in what his takes are for the year. He included the horror movies that he watched this year as well as other movies, so check that out. But yeah, Sydney was great on the show. We wish him well. But it'll just be me and Max for the time being.
I do also want to say that I'm really grateful for Sydney for putting in 2 whole years of effort for the show. I mean, that's over 100 reviews. That's a lot of work. I'm really grateful that he put in that effort and showed up every single week and put in his part. And that's really cool. So thank you, Sydney.
Okay, so Max, how you feeling? How are you feeling about being on the show for a second full year?
There was some ups and downs. There were some times where I was like, I'm not sure if this is working out, but hey, I came out the other side and I'm feeling good and I'm ready to review some more horror movies. So I'm excited for whatever 2026 has to bring.
Yeah, I mean, how do you feel about the year in movies for 2025? What's the impression you get?
The impression I get, unfortunately, is that we kind of had a bummer year. There were some standouts that were great, but I didn't feel like this was a banger of a year as we've had in the past. But yeah, there's still some movies that I'm really excited to talk about. Just a lot of new releases, unfortunately, that really missed the mark for me this year.
Yeah. Yeah, there's only like two or three standouts that I'm like, oh yeah, that was a banger that came out this year. And it seems like previous years was able to like identify the top 5 pretty easy, and maybe there was like one that felt kind of bad leaving off.
Yeah.
But I think overall it was a pretty good year. We reviewed, let's see, how many episodes did we review this year?
I think I counted 52.
I got 53, including Nosferatu. Nosferatu is released on January 1st, but we're not really including it in the awards since we included it in the awards last year. But yeah, 52 weeks in the year, 52 episodes. Yeah, let's start out with our bottom 5 movies that we reviewed this year, not including new releases.
Okay, so this was the toughest for me actually to come up with because I actually liked a lot of the movies that we reviewed that weren't new releases.
Yeah.
I only have 2 that I didn't really like, and the rest, like, I could put them on the bottom 5, but it would be kind of weird to be like, yeah, I gave this movie a 7, but it's in my bottom 5.
Uh-huh.
So really, the only 2 movies that I have to talk about here are, and this is going to be controversial. Scary Movie, I did not enjoy. And we talked about this when we reviewed the movie, but it just seems like there is a type of humor. Hi, Mandy. I see that Mandy's joined the chat over here. A type of humor that maybe just missed my generation a little bit. And I don't know. I couldn't follow through on it. Like it just wasn't funny to me. And you guys were like laughing at jokes that I just thought were like kind of lowbrow and low effort. Just kind of pointing at bodily fluids and saying this is the joke.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Scary Movie didn't do it for me. But I'm sure that's not on your bottom 5 list.
No, I gave Scary Movie a 10. I think.
Yeah, and that's one that I want to like it because there are like Scary Movie 3, I think, is funny. I've seen all of them, I think. And I thought Scary Movie 3 was funny, and I enjoy that. And I've gone back to it a couple times, but the rest, actually, no, Scary Movie 2 is funny. The little hand, one of the best jokes in the Scary Movie franchise. But yeah, number 1 just didn't capture me.
I think Scary Movie 1 is a little more dependent on the movies that it's parodying. I mean, of course, there's Scream, and so and you've seen Scream, so
yeah,
you probably got most of the jokes. But there was a lot of very specific early 2000s scary movie references that I don't know worked better if you watch those movies. I think Scary Movie 2 works better on its own because the movies that it was parodying are less well known. I mean, did you see what would have been The Haunting in year 2000?
No.
Yeah. So that was like one of the main ones it was parodying, and no one remembers that movie at all.
I also think Scary Movie 1 has a difficult time because it's a parody of a commentary. And so it's already parodying something that is kind of trying to make fun of itself a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So you lose a little bit of the headway there on the joke.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, with any kind of humor, it's like it's especially with very broad humor, and it's very, very broad in Scary Movie. It's going to be hit or miss. So, I mean, it was my generation when it came out, and so it's very specific to millennial humor of the time. And so a lot of my enjoyment is probably just reaching back in my mind and remembering my frame of mind back then. But I thought it still held up. I mean, watching it again, I still laughed.
I don't want to say that it's a bad movie because so many people love it. I think it's just one that didn't make me laugh. And it's a movie that's supposed to make you laugh.
Right.
So the other movie that I put on my bottom of 2025 that we reviewed is City of the Living Dead.
Mm-hmm.
Now, City of the Living Dead is not... It's just not anything special. The story is kind of generic and boring. The effects are not super incredible, and the production is low. So, City of the Living Dead, didn't cut it for me.
Yeah, I had City of the Living Dead at the top of the list for the bottom.
Oh, really? So there's 4 more that you think are worse.
No, I let's.
Or is it the other way?
You thought City of the number 1 of the bottom for me.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And it's just, I'm not into this brand of, foreign horror where it's just you don't know what's going on. It feels very random, and the only thing to capture your attention is the practical effects, and they just don't come very often.
Yeah. For the story, it kind of seems like, a good story is something happens, and then because that thing happens, something else happens
Right.
in consequence. This movie felt like, something happened and then something else happened, and you're supposed to tie them together because of lore. And it just, I don't care enough about this reality, this world that they're building to accept that, these things just happen.
Right. The other ones on my bottom 5, I've got Creepshow 2, which I didn't like. I think these are all, let me just double check. Yeah, these are all sub 5. So almost all of them are like 4 out of 10. So they're not terrible, but I didn't get a lot of enjoyment out of them. Creepshow 2 is pretty corny. There was only really one super good short that was in it, which was The Raft. That's the only one that, even though I watched it recently, is actually memorable.
Mm-hmm.
The others are kind of cringy and boring. The Green Inferno, I gave a 4 as well. Yeah. I think I liked it. Out of all these, I probably liked the Green Inferno most because, again, just millennial humor.
Well, the Green Inferno is like, I know it's bad, and yet I like it, and I don't know how to explain that,
Yeah. And then the Neon Demon didn't hit me very hard. I thought it was kind of boring, fell flat for me. I didn't think the commentary was particularly interesting. And I went back and watched some of it. And most of my commentary was like, all these women are beautiful. Like, why to like say that Elle Fanning is like obviously more beautiful than all these other women? It's like, okay, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's where you and I butted heads on that review. Is I think Elle Fanning is objectively the most beautiful woman in that movie.
Yeah, I mean, I guess different strokes for different folks. Like, she's probably the most youthful looking, maybe the most natural, maybe.
And maybe that's because I'm 26, like I'm closer to her age. And so like, that's more like what I, am attuned to. But yeah, when I watched it, I was like, yeah, of course she's more gorgeous than these girls. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. And then the last one on the list is In the Dark. Which
you didn't like In the Dark. That's strange.
In the Dark lost so many points just from the shitty quality of. I just got angry.
Yeah.
Like there's a certain level of resolution that I expect in even low budget things, and audio quality, and it just bothered me so much. And although out of all these, that is the most compelling story out of all my bottom 5. Like, I think it would be a really good, there could be a really good remake of this if it were done with a better director, higher quality production, and better acting. And probably a slightly better script.
I mean, I understand where you're coming from. It's like canonically filmed on a Nokia phone. It's bad.
Yeah.
And I think the story was enough to grip me. Like, I was interested in what was happening to the protagonist the entire time. But yeah, it's not a movie I would ever show to my friends. I'd never be like, hey, let's put on In the Dark. You're going to love it, because I know that they would just be like, what is this shit? Why is it? I can't even see what's happening. And you can't. Yeah. You can't see what's happening.
Right. Yeah, I think like there's low quality resolution, and there's black and white, and then there's like, just mush, once you add those together. So Yeah, that's the bottom 5 for me of the ones that we reviewed. Overall, nothing really dipped. The only one that dipped below a 4 for me was The City of the Living Dead in terms of non-new releases.
I think we covered a lot of good ones this year.
Yeah. I think out of all the, well, I could just quickly do this. Out of the combined averages of all the non-new releases, averages like a 7.27 out of 10.
So pretty good.
So,
well, I would be interested. I think we did this last year to see who picked the most movies between me, you, and Sydney, because for some reason Sydney had like 9 to our 6 last year, and it would just be interesting to see who picked more, because for the listeners, most weeks we don't get to pick what we're reviewing. Most weeks it's like there's a new release coming out, we need to review it, and then that's the one we do. And then when it happens to fall on your turn and there's no new release, then you get to pick a movie.
Yeah, I think we're actually pretty even. Okay, so the vast majority, so there was the new releases, out of the 53 movies this year, 26 were new releases.
Okay.
And then 13 were patron picks, because there was one from last year too.
Yeah, wow.
And so that leaves for Sydney picked 4, and I picked 4, and you picked 6. So you lucked out this year.
I got the lucky number this year. That's interesting. Well, and hey, we liked most of the movies that we reviewed this year, so that could be mostly due to me.
Right. Last year I had 4, you had 4, and Sydney had 8. So we held that against him last year. It's like, and Sydney did not have a great track record for picking great movies last year either. So
like Red Christmas. Yeah, I mean, it's just the luck of the draw, and it should equal out roughly, but it's not going to come out to be the same.
Yeah.
But what were the 4 that you picked this year?
The 4 I picked this year was Amityville Horror, Scary Movie, which I didn't really pick. That was just one that David would do.
Yeah.
I think there's actually a couple of those that, even though, yeah, like on your list, Beetlejuice, I don't think you really picked that. That was
I don't think I picked Beetlejuice, although it was a good one to review.
And so yeah, Amityville Horror, Tigers Are Not Afraid, and The Blob. Yeah. Again, another one that I could get David to do.
Tigers
so really,
out
of the ones that I picked, I only picked 2.
Yeah. Well, I hope they were worth it for you. Did you enjoy Amityville Horror?
I think it was a good one to cover.
Yeah,
I gave it a 5.
That's kind of the challenge when you're picking your own movie, is like, do I pick one that I really like or one that definitely needs to be covered on the show? And usually, there are some that I really like that no one's heard of, and it would be boring to cover. Right. So,
yeah. Okay, let's move on to our bottom 5 new releases.
Oof. I don't think any of these are hot takes.
I'm assuming that we're going to have a lot of overlap on our new releases.
Yeah. The top worst release of 2025.
Start from 5 and go up to.
Oh, okay. Start from the least of the worst.
Right.
Okay. FNAF 2, Five Nights at Freddy's 2, I thought was good enough to be a movie, and the rest were not. So I am not a fan of Five Nights at Freddy's, but people love them. Both 1 and 2. Huge fanfare. We've posted some reels about Five Nights at Freddy's 2. The biggest reels that Horror Movie Talk has ever posted. I mean, people love those movies. And I think that speaks to just the quality. The quality is great. They do a good job. The casting is good, though the writing is bad. Bad. But it makes a good enough movie for children and some others to enjoy. Number 4 is Shelby Oaks. This was one of my most anticipated movies of the year. I was so excited to see Shelby Oaks just because the trailer didn't give anything away and it looked creepy. That's enough to grab me. And it was basically an hour and a half long trailer. It was so boring. It drew out the scares. And then when it did do a scare, it was like, that's kind of, yeah, that works, but it doesn't advance the plot. The plot is so boring. This might be one of the most boring plots of the entire one. Now I think the writing is worse in the 3 to come, but this might be the most boring plot. Number 3 is Wolfman. Some people like Wolfman, and I think it's 100% due to the fact that it is a reimagining of Wolfman. People want to see a good Wolfman movie, a good werewolf movie, and there just isn't one. Even we reviewed the earliest Wolfman by Universal, and it was boring. Like, it was fine, but it was boring. And Wolfman is just a tough story to get right because the monster is tricky. And I think they made it way more tricky than they had to be in this one. So the last 2 are absolutely egregious, and I don't even know how you reconcile either of these. If you liked either of these, good luck to you in 2026. But The Woman in the Yard was one of the worst movies I've ever seen. I don't think you saw that one, did you?
I didn't see that one. Yeah, I had stepped out on that episode.
I remember when the trailer came out, and I said, like, this will be the worst movie of 2025. Because it was that obvious. And it was one of the worst. It's so bad. It's so, like, I barely remember that movie, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. But I remember hating it. The worst movie of 2025, hands down, bar none, is Clown in the Cornfield. No redeeming qualities.
Clown in the Cornfield isn't on my list, actually.
It isn't?
It isn't. I had 1, 2, 2 3s, and then the rest were 4s on my bottom 5. So a lot of crossover. My bottom 5 was, well, first tell us what's so bad about Clown in a Cornfield, since it's not on mine.
Cheese. It is the cheesiest movie that came out this year. It was such a, like, when you're watching a movie that there was no love put into it. It is a cash grab because producers and directors know that if you make a horror movie around October, people are, you're going to get butts in seats and you're going to make your money back and it's going to be fine. It sucked. It's so bad. The writing, the people aren't people. The scares, there's no scares. It's like a slasher, which slasher is already not my favorite genre in the horror genre, but yeah, it's a boring, no love slasher.
Yeah, it was very cookie cutter. Like I didn't feel it was in any way particularly egregious. It was just very paint by numbers slasher, and whatever creativity they tried to instill in it just kind of fell flat.
See, the thing about it is, like, The Woman in the Yard, as much as I hate The Woman in the Yard, there was a vision there. There was someone who sat down and was like, this is my idea. The idea in Clown in the Cornfield is, what if old people are evil and they hate young people?
That's true.
And to make it scary, we'll dress them as clowns.
That's true. Okay, my bottom 5 new releases. I'm surprised this one wasn't on yours. I Know What You Did Last Summer 2025. That one was such a nothing burger. Talk about paint by numbers slasher. And I don't think there was any notable kills in it that were particularly interesting. And then the entire premise of it, trying to remake I Know What You Did Last Summer, except like there was something fundamentally missing. I can't remember what it was, but basically, like there was something missing from the premise of the. Yeah, wasn't it like in the original? They're all on the cusp of like leaving childhood and going into adulthood, and so like they could have major consequences of, oh, you're not going to be able to get into college, you're not going to be able to do this, it's going to derail your life. And in this one, they're basically already all in college, you know? They're already like living adult lives, and so that major factor kind of falls flat. And also I think they made it a little more so like they were completely not at fault with how the guy died or how whoever died in it compared to the first one.
Weren't they not even driving? Like they were like pulled over?
Yeah. It was like they undercut it so much, and then I don't know how many people. I mean, even me, a millennial, like I don't know how many people actually cared that much about I Know What You Did Last Summer. It's a memorable title, but I don't remember everyone being like, these are the best movies, you know?
I think in defense of I Know What You Did Last Summer 2025 is, you're right, it is very cookie cutter, but it's using a cookie cutter that is tried and true and is gonna follow through. It's like, it's not gonna be good. It's never gonna be good, but I think it's better than a lot of what came out this year.
Yeah. My number 4, also not on your list, was Death of a Unicorn. Did you see Death of a Unicorn?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, this one was probably on my bottom 5 just because it's such a disappointment. Like they had a lot of great ingredients for this movie and they just squandered them. Like
they had Paul Rudd.
It was, kind of staged to be a comedy horror. And somehow it just falls flat. Like it's not funny. They make Paul Rudd's character like really confusing. Like, are you supposed to root for this guy or not? Because at one point he's basically framed as the villain, and then at one point he's framed as the hero, and it's not convincing. And then of course it does the sin that a lot of horror movies of the last several years have done, which is cast what's her name as the
Jenna Ortega.
Jenna Ortega as the protagonist. Can we all move on from Jenna Ortega? Can we just all agree that she's not that great? And we can just be like,
seeing
okay.
Seeing her in Wednesday, I was like, I get it. She looks the part.
Mm-hmm.
She is the iconic goth girl. Then seeing her in Beetlejuice, Death of a Unicorn, Scream, started to break my brain a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's just, I don't know. I haven't watched Wednesday Addams, so I've only seen her as just kind of a blank-faced nothing burger in all the movies she's been in. Like, she's not bringing a lot to any of these projects.
No. So, the one thing I will say about Death of a Unicorn, actually, it's probably a couple things. So, I had never thought of using a unicorn as object of fear.
Uh-huh.
That is unique to this movie. The other thing that's unique to this movie is I think the scary unicorns look sick. Like, yes, they're goofy and the CGI could be better. They could have put more love into it, but they look scary. Like horses are scary. They made them big stallions with dagger horns. And I thought that was cool.
Yeah, this was a discussion I had with David a while ago that was surprising to me, of just him being fearful of horses, of just being like, horses are scary. They're huge and terrifying. And I've never once in my life looked at horses and were like, yeah, that's disturbing.
No, I'm with him on that, because I think if you grew up around horses, or if you have experience with horses and you're like, I've been around them so much and they don't do anything, like they're just sweet animals, that's one thing. But I know nothing about horses. I've never been around horses. So when I go to the state fair and you can reach in to pet this 1,000-pound animal on the face, like, no, that thing's going to bite me and take my hand.
Mm. Yeah, I didn't grow up around horses, but I'm not fearful of them. They just look like pack animals, you know?
My wife says that horses are God's most unique creatures.
Yeah.
Because they are
I'd be
so
scared of
unlike
getting
any
kicked by
other
a
creatures in their biology.
Yeah. Mandy says she had a horse, and horses can be scary.
Yeah, I believe it. I mean, when you have a sweet horse who is broken and just loves you and wants to trot around, I'm sure there can be nothing more beautiful. Right. But horses are just huge. You can't, this is the same with dogs. Dogs can be the sweetest creatures on earth. My dog sucks, okay? He's awful. He nips at me and my wife, who have loved him since birth, and is a maniac.
Mm-hmm.
I don't trust listen, we keep our dogs separate from our kid in our house. We have gates because we don't trust those things.
Yeah. No, yeah, I see that. I think, like, as with any animals, you have to have the understanding that they're animals and know that, like, yeah, at any given time, they're going to not agree with the social agreement that you've constructed for them. Like, even like there's like stories of golden retrievers eating babies, you know? It's like horrifying, but yeah, it's a dog, you know? My dog also like rummages around in the trash for food. It's like, yeah, it's if a dog sees a baby in a car seat, it's like, could I get away with eating this baby? Yeah, let's try it. Like, that's always a threat.
It is a threat.
And I'm sure with horses too. And I get it, they're large animals, like rippling with muscle, so they could really do some damage. But overall, like, I just look at them as a beautiful, kind of dumb animal has a history of being able to be controlled. So I'm not too concerned with myself.
Well, think of it this way. When you put your kid on a horse at the state fair to ride around in a circle, is that horse thinking, this sweet child, I need to protect this beautiful baby boy? Mm-hmm. Or is this horse thinking, when can I get this thing off of me? And if it's on the ground, will I stomp on it? Maybe.
Fair enough. And then my last three, there's crossover. So Wolfman is my number 3. Again, pretty big disappointment. I disagree. Like, I don't think anyone's really asking for Wolfman remakes. I think out of the Universal horror monsters, Wolfman is the least interesting and the least. I think
there's a desire to have at least one good one, because we see the creature and we're like, the creature's cool. The creature is a man who turns into a wolf.
Right.
Why can't we make that cool? I think American Werewolf in London made it cool, but it can't be done any other way.
I think the only cool thing is the transformation. Like, after you get through the transformation, it's like, who gives a shit? Now it's just a dog. Like unless you're gonna do a thing where, that's the problem with Wolfman, is that once it becomes a werewolf, it's just a dog, you know? Yeah. And there's no real humanity left in it. And so for some people, that's the scary part. But I feel like if there was more of a like Incredible Hulk element where it's like, yeah, there is a consciousness there, and it's just the representation of letting loose and giving into your worst impulses. Maybe that would be more interesting.
Well, I think there's two ways to go about it, and these two ways are hardly ever used. And the first way is make it a human who just, when he turns, has the desire of a wolf, but he's still like human shaped. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
I feel like that if you saw your dad running at you on all fours, trying to bite your neck off, that's scary.
Yeah.
Also, if you go full wolf, like in American Werewolf in London, where when he's transformed, I mean, doesn't look like a regular wolf, but he's a wolf, you know?
Right.
When you try to go this half wolf, half man, I don't know, something's just not scary about it.
Yeah, for this remake, like they tried to make it more personal, and like they even, separated it, Wolfman. I don't know what they're trying to do, but it falls flat. It's boring. There's not enough action in it. It's like so much of the story is this slow transformation of the father and the family, and I think the
other
only
wolf just happens to be his dad.
Say again.
The other wolf just happens to be his dad.
Right. And then like the only thing that I liked about it was like the part where it's seen through his eyes.
Yeah.
As he's transforming and as he's like losing his humanity. That was interesting, but other than that, like there's just not a lot going on. The performances were surprisingly bad from what's her name?
I just think she wasn't given much. What do you do with that?
She wasn't given much at all. God damn it. Julia Garner.
Yeah.
Yeah, she wasn't given much, and just like I was expecting more. I was expecting more from Leigh Whannell. Like I think he did an excellent job with Invisible Man, and just dropped the ball with Wolfman.
Were those supposed to be connected in like some universe? Because they are so different in feel.
Yeah. With Invisible Man, he did something interesting, which was like, yeah, you make the Invisible Man like this representation of, domestic violence and behind closed doors and gaslighting and all this stuff. It was like a different take, and I think it worked very well. And this one was kind of a different take that did not work well.
Yeah.
Okay. Second is Shelby Oaks. This is my most eye-rolling one. I didn't make any allusions to the fact that it wasn't because it was made by Chris Stuckman. I relish the fact that the YouTuber's movie fell flat. But overall, like, yeah, it was jumbled. It felt messy and incongruous, like the first half. Like the pacing of it and the transition between found footage and traditional narrative felt clunky and arbitrary.
It came too late. It came too late for me. Like we're like 35 minutes into the film and then it makes the transition. I'm like, I was already set down ready to watch a found footage movie.
Right. It just didn't feel like he made any strong decisions about this is what I want to do and this is my vision for the movie. It just seems like he wanted to do all the things that he liked in horror movies. And that just doesn't always work, Like you have to have a stronger vision and a stronger take than what was presented in Shelby Oaks. And just in general, like, yeah, it felt like it was trying to do too many things and it did all of them poorly.
I love that during our whole Shelby Oaks review, we couldn't remember if the place was Shelby Oaks or if the character was Shelby
Right.
Oaks. Like it makes it clear in the movie, but it's so forgettable that by the end of the movie you're like, who was Shelby Oaks?
Yeah. It was the place. But yeah. And then top of the list for my least favorite new releases was Five Nights at Freddy's 2. Like that's the top of the worst for me.
It doesn't get worse than Five Nights at Freddy's 2, huh?
Yeah. The writing was so bad, and like everything felt so arbitrary. Nothing was connected. There was no like inevitability. It was just like, and this happens, and here's a quick time event, and remember this part from the video game, and here's now another character, and now these ones are here.
But what about Audrey?
Audrey was great.
Audrey was great.
The best part of that movie was Audra Lynn Marie. She did a great performance, and we love her and her fans, which commented and liked our reels a lot. So I felt a little bad like interviewing Audrey after I had shit so completely and actually hated Five Nights at Freddy's 2, but it's not her fault.
Audrey has more fans than Horror Movie Talk.
Yeah.
Like double 10. Like we posted reels with Audrey, and the fan base rallied to her defense on this, and it was nothing but love. And I can only respect that.
Yeah. I mean, it shows you how popular these movies are and these video games. Like, it's got a huge following, and that's probably where I'm most salty, is that this caliber of movie just doesn't deserve 4 or 5 sequels that it's going to get. And it's only getting them because there's a lot of people that played the games and they're big fans of the lore, and they want to see it in movie form, even though they've already seen it and consumed it.
Yeah. Mandy, if you want to post in the chat your top or bottom 5 of the year, we'll talk about them. So let us know.
Okay, let's move on to our top 5s.
Woo!
All right, so let's get to the good stuff. Let's talk about our top 5 of the non-new releases.
Yeah. So starting at the bottom again is what we're doing. Squeaking out at the last minute is Strange Darling. I thought was really fun. It was something kind of different, and I enjoyed it. And I think that...
Which one? I didn't hear it. You were breaking up a little.
Oh, sorry. Strange Darling?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. It was not even on my radar, to be honest. I had never heard of it before you mentioned it. So I'm glad that we got to cover that one, because it's a fairly new release, right? Either last year or the year before.
Yeah, it was, I believe it was last year. I think it was 2024.
Yeah, I liked how it was put together, how it wasn't in sequential order, and you got to really like get the mystery before getting the story. You know what I mean? So yeah, Strange Darling was great. In number 4, I have Hush. And that's one that I'm so glad we covered this year, because it's such a great one. And I'm surprised that you guys hadn't covered it before, but
no, I mean, obviously huge Flanagan fan. And yeah, I love Hush. I'm surprised that you included it in your top 5. You only gave it a 6.
Well, I mean, there's very limited ones we have to deal with, right? If we cover 20, let's say 21 or 22 non-new releases in the year, and 5 of them are already in my bottom 5, like it's slim pickings, but
Yeah. Fair enough.
I like Hush a lot. I just think there's better ones that we covered for sure. And we did a good job this year, I will say, of covering like classic horror movies.
Yeah.
And that kind of fills up the rest of my list, which is Killer Clowns from Outer Space. That was my pick.
Uh-huh.
And what an incredible film. It is honestly one of my favorites to this day. Like if I'm ever like in the mood for a movie, but I don't really want to pay attention, that's one that I would go to. Second to top is The Sixth Sense, which we covered last week, I believe. It's a 10 out of 10 for me. One of my favorite M. Night Shyamalan movies. It's either that or The Village is like my top. Or Signs. I guess they're all so good. It's so hard to say, but and then number 1, The Hills Have Eyes.
Yeah, Hills Have Eyes isn't on my top, but I respect it. You know,
yeah, it's the only. Actually, no, it's not the only Hills Have Eyes I've seen. Which one did we even cover? Now I'm forgetting. The one in the 70s, right?
Yeah,
I think I accidentally saw the 2000s one first because I wasn't paying attention. But the one in the 70s is great. It's really scary. Like the situation gives me dread. And that's something that I look for in a movie.
Yeah, I'm just looking at your scores. You had 3 10s.
Dude, I hate when you compare my scores to my list because it always makes me feel like a phony. You just want to point out that I'm a phony.
Well, you know, if the shoe fits.
Opinions change over time. Hindsight is 2020. Nostalgia plays a big part.
It's true. Okay, fair enough. Was that
no. What did I give the other two then? If I gave 3 of them a 10 out of 10.
You gave Beetlejuice
a 6.
A 10. You gave Tigers Are Not Afraid a 9. The Others a 9.
Oh, I think I forgot about The Others, dude. I might replace Strange Darling with The Others. That's such a good movie.
Yeah. And then you had like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have 6 that you gave an 8. And those you had The Hills Have Eyes in it. Strange Darling you gave a 7. So, but no, I mean, it might be a little bit of recency bias, but I really like Strange Darling too.
When I'm watching the movie, I think I'm coming up with like a very analytical score. And then when I'm looking back at my favorites out of the year, it's more on vibe and feeling.
Yeah. Okay. My top 5 non-new releases. So Beetlejuice, I think all these are 10s. I just had to like put them in order. So Beetlejuice, of course, is fantastic. Unique vision, a fun story, great characters, super memorable. The one surprise on the list is I Saw the Devil. I think I like this way more than you and Sydney.
Yeah.
I Saw the Devil was like probably the best example of a action horror movie. Like it's literally just
otherwise known as a thriller.
Yeah, it's like but it's like a horror thriller, you know, because it's like Mission Impossible, or no, it was like a spy movie, but done as a horror movie. And I thought it was super engaging. I thought the writing was great, the performances were great, the suspense was great. Just really enjoyable all around. That was like one of the surprising ones. Next was The Blob, 1988, which
I didn't get to see, by the way.
You didn't get to see.
Wah, wah.
It's great, underappreciated practical effects, a masterpiece. Had a lot of fun recording with David. That one.
Tell me more about the fun you guys had.
I watched it last year, I think, when I was doing my 31 horror movies in October. And that one stood out as like, holy cow, this one's awesome. Like this is, as good as any of the best 80s horror. And I think it just came out at the wrong time. I think people were starting to get over that brand of practical effects, special effects stuff, and kind of more unknown director and writer, even though they went on to, like Frank Darabont is huge now, after he's done like Shawshank Redemption and all these other Stephen King adaptations. But The Blob was great. Next up, Tigers Are Not Afraid. Another one that kind of surprised me. It's one of these that's on the list of top, 100 or 200 horror movies, and it's usually in the top 50. And I don't hear a lot of horror fans talking about it. It doesn't come up a lot on like the Facebook page.
It's crazy that it's on that list because it's just not a horror movie, but it is really good.
I mean, I disagree. It's a supernatural horror movie.
The only reason you say it's a horror movie is because it has ghosts in it. And they're barely in it.
Well, yeah, but also it's like the horror of actual reality of living in the ghetto of like a third world country and just the being preyed upon as a youth. I thought it was, I mean, I give no apologies to say that it's a horror movie. I think it's great. I think it was one of the most effective movies we reviewed. For me, I mean, I cried a couple times in it.
I think it was a tearjerker for me too. Didn't we have a guest on that episode?
Yes.
Who was that?
I can't remember. I think it was it was like an artist. I can't remember the name.
Dang.
Alicia Burbank. Yeah.
I don't know what's worse, how long it took you to come up with that name or that I don't remember it at all.
No, she was great on it. I think that was all three of us and a guest.
Yeah, I think so.
Tigers, let me see what you guys gave it.
I rated it highly.
Yeah, you gave it a 9. Sydney gave it an 8. So yeah, it's one of my favorite that I've seen. And then top is The Sixth Sense. I mean, still super effective. Shyamalan's probably still his best movie.
It's unbeatable.
Most effective. Still works. It's still like emotionally impactful, even though I've seen it several times. Great performances. Bruce Willis does great in it. Haley Joel Osment is a phenom. And just a really, really tight script, shot very, very well. So, I don't think anyone would have any qualms about saying
no.
The Sixth Sense is a fantastic movie.
Mandy also just posted in the chat that her top 5 this year was The Blob, Scary Movie, The Others, Beetlejuice, and Strange Darling, with The Sixth Sense as well as a little tack on there. Which, yeah, I think all really good movies except for Scary Movie. I think you're wrong on that.
Yeah. Okay, top 5 new releases for the year, Max. I wonder how much crossover we're going to have. I think
this is what people come for.
I know there's a couple that you're not going to pick that I picked.
Yeah. I mean, there's some that I picked that you're not going to pick either, for sure.
Yeah.
Number 5. Presents. Presents was unique and scary. And although I didn't understand what it meant until you guys told me what the movie was about, I had a great time watching it. So I thought The Presence was really good. And I think it was shot all in one, or most of it at least, shot all in one take, right?
Yes.
Which
I mean, there was a lot of long takes. I'm not sure it was all in one take, but there was definitely a lot of long takes in it.
Yeah. So that always does take me out of the movie a little bit because I'm always focused on like, how are they still going on this take? It's so impressive.
Mm-hmm.
But also it's fun. You know, it's just a good medium, even though it does take me out a little bit. Number 4, Companion. Companion had a unique idea. It was funny, and it has good payoffs. I think Companion is definitely one of the best horror movies to come out this year. And it's kind of like fits into that rom-com a little bit too. Like there are funny and cute moments in that movie that make you feel good. So I really enjoyed Companion, especially the flashbacks they have to when they're meeting their companion. And it's always the same thing. Just cracks me up. It's so funny.
It's a great social commentary. It's not on my list, but like, yeah, I think Companion is definitely an honorable mention for me. It's it's new IP. It's not a remake. And I think it should have got a lot more attention. I'm a big fan of Jack Quaid. He also came out with, me and Aaron just watched Novocaine the other night, and that was a fun movie as well. But yeah, I love the commentary of like being able to change the settings of the companion, and they're like, how intelligent do you want it? And it's like
low.
Slightly below average. You're like, yeah, that tracks for a lot of men.
It also, I love when they're laying in bed and she's trying to talk to him and he's just like, good night. And she stops talking. And it's shown later that that's the command to turn off at night. Number 3, and you are going to hate this. You're going to hate it. You already know what it is.
It's The Long Walk, isn't it?
The Long Walk.
Yeah.
I loved The Long Walk. What can I say? I cried. I laughed. It was a journey. I felt like I was on that long walk with him.
Yeah, for me, it just felt like a long walk.
And you hate walks.
And I hate walking. No, like, yeah, this one just did not hit me. I mean, it might have been that I was sick. I think that's the reason why I missed the recording episode, is that I was like completely sick the day of the recording. But overall, it just fell flat. There was a couple distracting elements that just like ruined it for me.
You hated that man chewed gum. You hated it.
Yeah. I'm from Brooklyn. I'm abrasive. I'm like, oh, okay. Can we be slightly more subtle? And then I thought Mark Hamill and how they treated the villain in it was just like not good. It was not compelling. I thought Mark Hamill was miscast, and they just didn't fill out the antagonist enough to feel like that payoff was, super well. I will say, like, sure, the writing in it was good to like keep you engaged for the whole thing when it's literally just people walking and then getting shot in the head if they fall back. The relationships were interesting, but it just felt a little, I don't know, twee for me.
See, I think what it did so right, and that is it captured something that I feel like men and boys can appreciate. And I say this only because I don't know what it's like to be a woman. So there could be a very parallel, feeling here. But to embark on a journey with the boys is like, not only is it fun, it makes you want to cry, dude. Seeing your boys in hardship and lifting them up, It's beautiful.
All right.
You don't have boys, so you don't
Agree
want
to
to know.
disagree. I got boys.
Okay. Okay, who are your boys?
I
Other
got
than
more
me.
boys than you. Well, no, probably not.
I have at least 3 boys.
Good boy. Well, you're my boy.
Yeah, you're my boy too. Well, okay, so 4 boys then.
You know, David's a boy. I've
Yeah.
got some boys from childhood. that I
David is
consider
objectively
boys.
not my boy.
David is not your boy. That's been established.
All right. Then I have in the second place, Bring Her Back. I thought it was super fun. I loved the ritual aspect of the movie, which I think that those directors, I forget their names, but they're brothers, and they just do really well, which is like come up with a ritual and then just watch that ritual play out throughout the movie.
Mhm.
They did the same with Talk to Me. And so I think it was super fun. It had some absolutely cringeworthy, jarring moments that were terrifying. And the only thing that I think was not quite hitting the mark on it was the resolution. For me, it just, I didn't feel like we got to where I wanted to go in the end, but I really loved it. It was a great movie. Had a lot of fun with it. My top is Weapons. Obviously, I think that's hard to beat this year. It had an interesting way of delivering the information in parts, kind of like how Strange Darling did. And it also, again, it taps into that ritual aspect of like, here's a ritual, we're going to show you how it works, and then it's going to play out, and it's really scary. I think that that's an untapped market, and it works well almost every time.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely agree with that one. Was that
That was my
Weapons?
list, yeah. That's the
That was
list.
your list. Okay, so I had to revise my list because I almost forgot about Bring Her Back. I was surprised I didn't have that in the top 5, but I'm gonna have that as my number 5.
Okay.
Definitely super impactful. Yeah, great kind of ritual horror thing. I love the gaslighting in it. Like super visceral, body horror. I think that's probably the last time in a recent horror movie that they can do the shoving your face into something as the horror thing, because since Hereditary, it started to, like, we've got Hereditary, we've got Talk to Me, got Bring Her Back, like a lot of just facial trauma shoved into
Weapons with the
desks.
forks.
Yeah. So I think they're
Facial
gonna have to
trauma
like
is an
slow
untapped
it.
market, dude. I don't
Yeah.
know. Facial trauma is an untapped market because every time I see it, it's like an out of body experience. I can't handle it.
I think one of the good things about Bring Her Back that upped the ante on it was dental trauma. I think
Yeah.
dental trauma is untapped.
Oh,
Seeing teeth crack is
eating a knife is rough.
Yeah.
It's rough.
okay, so Bring Her Back is my 5. Number 4, which I don't think you still have seen, is Sinners.
Sinners. No, I haven't seen Sinners.
Sinner.
It doesn't. I'm not a vampire guy.
No.
I just have to say it. I'm not, and so it's probably good. It doesn't look interesting to me.
So you still haven't seen it?
No.
Yeah, it was really good. And I recognize it. I think the antagonists were super interesting, especially in terms of like having vampire as the antagonist. I think how they approached that was very interesting and kind of using cultural appropriation as kind of a undercurrent of the villain is interesting. That being said, like I didn't like it as much as a lot of other people that have it in their top 5.
Dude,
I think
some people were saying like this better win the not the Grammy. I'm an idiot. The Academy Awards. Like this, it needs to be like the number one. Like I haven't seen it, so I don't know. But I've also seen a lot of hate for Sinners online.
Yeah, I think it's another one of those that if it works for you. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I think one of the things that didn't work for me was a big swing in the middle of like the musical kind of midpoint where they open up the spirit world and have all these different generations. It's like, for me, it was super corny and did not land. It was probably the thing that took away a point for me. Other than that, it was a fantastic movie. But I respect it. I respect the big swing. I think it definitely gets a lot of points for people for, I don't know. I think it's the same thing with Black Panther, same director, where it's like, I get it, it's good. It's not that great. You know, like it's not
right
for the amount of love it's gotten, it's not that good compared to these other ones that I have in the top three.
Do you think there is a desire for specifically white people to pile love onto a movie that promotes like black creators?
Yeah, there's a little bit of white guilt that goes into it.
Because not saying that it's not good, like it probably is really good. I just haven't seen it, but I think that there's a little with Black Panther specifically. It's like I can watch that and be like, this is really good, but then to see people be like, it's the best Marvel movie. It's the best.
Yeah,
like,
I think the part where like you start, where I feel like people are smelling their own farts is like when they watch Black Panther or watch Sinners and they're like, not only is it a great movie, it's an important movie.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Like it's not important, but it is good. You know?
You know what I think are important movies for the black community is Jordan Peele's horror movies.
Yeah. I mean,
not
sure.
to speak to a community I'm not a part of, obviously, but I think taking black cultural themes and putting them in horror is really cool.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's not for me to say what is the important movies, but my eyes start to glaze over when you start glazing movies for how culturally important they are, when on the surface they're not actually that.
So what you're saying is you hated 12 Years a Slave.
I mean, well, that's a separate thing. It's like, that's just straight up white guilt. I mean, that's made for no one, you know. That's like, just makes white people feel bad about the terrible things they've done, and it's not like black people are enjoying it either, you know. It's just like, let's tell the story for the 50th time on film, you know. I think it's more important to, you know, tell stories that aren't stereotypical, that don't follow the same narrative of victimhood, you know, constantly, and underline, you know, over and over again, generational trauma. You know, there's people that are actually living their lives that aren't, you know, 100% always about generational trauma. And I'd like to see more of those stories. Like, I think a good example for me of like great creators that are doing that, like, yeah, Jordan Peele, definitely. Who's the lady that does Insecure on HBO? Issa Rae. She's great. Like, I'd rather have more of those where it's like the actual perspective and not just retelling some rehash of the wrongs that have been done, you know, generationally and historically.
So how do you feel like him fits into that? Because that's more like not generational trauma, but more what is the Black community being used for in media today?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little more interesting. That one is more of like, I'm not really the audience for it because I just don't give a shit about sports. So, like, it kind of, that's more about like sacrificing your body for glory, you know? And yeah, there's a lot of like disposable, you know, a lot of like I mean, I'm not going to talk about the Black experience in America because I'm not
sorry.
the person to
I mean,
talk about
it's
it.
a valid topic
like
when the
that's
movies are coming out every year, you know?
Yeah, that feels like that's kind of an element of the aspirations in the Black experience in America is being the GOAT in some sport. And the reality of it is you're actually sacrificing your body and your life for it, you know? But yeah.
I wish I could be the GOAT in literally anything, dude. Everything? Okay. Can we get personal for a second?
Sure.
I might be mediocre in everything I've ever done in my life.
Right.
Does that feeling ever go away?
No. I mean, not unless you become great.
Oh,
you know?
Okay. Okay.
If you want to feel great about being the greatest, you gotta like, you know, eschew all other things until you're the greatest. And, you know, I think middle age tells you the vast majority of people, that's just not the case. The vast majority of the people are just normal, average people doing what they can to eke out a living and try to live their best life. And that's also okay, you know?
It's okay to be okay. Is that what you're saying?
It's okay, you know. I like you for you.
But I'm not the GOAT.
You're not the GOAT. The older you get,
David is the GOAT.
And the more you realize like your dreams are not going to be fulfilled because of your own limitations and your lack of effort, the more you realize like, oh yeah, maybe I should treat myself more like Mr. Rogers would treat me. Just like,
oh, that's sweet.
I like you for being you, you know, and just understand that you have value as being a unique person, even though you're mediocre within your own sphere of influence, you know. Because really, if you look at it, do you really want to be the GOAT and have all the trappings and pressures of being the best of something?
Yes, that's
like, do you like, I want to be good at podcasting, but do I want to be Joe Rogan? No, I would not want to be Joe Rogan. Like, I want to be, you know, number 12 of top podcasters, not like top 3.
I think in a way you could say that's still a GOAT. That's probably one of my biggest hangups in life is like, yes, no, I do want to be that. I want to be the best. And that's hard.
Well, you're still young. You haven't been beaten down by the world as much as I have. Okay, my top 3. 28 years later, fantastic follow-up in the series. Danny Boyle back. Great script, great emotion, great world building. I'm not sure what to think of the Bone Temple coming up it's this month, isn't it?
It comes out this month.
But holy 28 years later was fantastic. Beautiful, compelling, interesting. Yeah, it was a great follow-up, great zombie movie. For a genre that I roll my eyes at, it was pretty great. And it's probably why a lot of people didn't like it, is that it didn't use all the tropes and rehash all the zombie lore and stuff. Like, I think it built on it in an interesting way.
I like it enough. I think the reason it didn't make my top 5 is because it's one of those movies where it's setting up more movies, and so it has to kind of end on a like bland note.
Yeah.
Like, this is my problem with, my wife loves like young adult novel-esque movies. So
Mm.
we'll watch like the Harry Potter series, and I'll watch one. I'll watch the first one and be like, "That was great. I enjoyed that movie." And then we watch a couple more and like, "Those were fun too." And then she's like, "Okay, so these next 3, they're setting up the end, so they're pretty boring, but you just got to get through them." And you watch them, you're like, "Man, those did suck. What the heck?" And it kind of pays off at the end. Same thing with like the Hunger Games. Like I really like watching the first Hunger Games movie, and then you get to like the second and third, you're like, man, they're just trying to make a payoff at the end, and it takes me 6 hours to get there.
And then the payoff's not that great.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that. But I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I guess I think it's a satisfying conclusion. I think that the tacked on ending of him finding the Jimmies or whatever is like the only part that's like, okay, seriously, that's how you're going to end it. But in terms of like him going off on his own, I think that's a satisfying conclusion. Okay, number 2.
Number 1 or number 2? You're still on number 2. Okay,
I'm still on number 2. The Ugly Stepsister.
Yeah, I thought you would put this on actually.
Ugly Stepsister was fantastic. I think we covered it like a couple weeks late, but I'm so glad that we got to it because it was kind of a limited release. An interesting take on a pretty straight ahead fairy tale retelling.
Yeah.
That is probably the best example of the tone of a, Grimm's fairy tale, where it's like, actually, this is terrifying. If you were actually to show, what happened in these fairy tales, like in, what is it, Cinderella? The ending of Cinderella is what was it? Was it Cinderella or was it something else? There's an ending of a fairy tale where the evil witch gets put in red hot iron shoes and made to dance, and that's how she dies.
Oh.
And it's like, okay, well, I don't remember that in the Disney version, but that's horrifying. And so that you get a little more of a taste of that in The Ugly Stepsister. Of yeah, this is what the reality of what this story would be like for the other people in the story, or the antagonists in the story.
Well, it's great because taking any fairy tale and putting it in reality is going to make it horrifying, because fairy tales, what they do is they take an archetype, and then everyone else around them is a heel. They are made to be put down or used to further the archetype. And when you imagine those people as actual people, you're like, wow, that is a horrible life that you have to live so that the protagonist can be raised up.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the payoff for The Ugly Stepsister is fantastic. I mean, throughout the whole thing, the body horror and like the kind of reality-based horror of like trying to live in that time and that society that was based on, royalty and the aristocracy, and having your worth, especially as a woman, being tied to who you're married to. All that's communicated great. And then the payoff at the end of her mutilating herself as a last ditch effort is great. Last one, or the top of the list, top new release for me, is also Weapons. Weapons stood out as an original story. Zach Kreger just brought out another banger. I mean, I loved Barbarian. Barbarian was my top 5 of the year that it came out, and so I was looking forward to this. This is a great example of what Julia Garner could do with a good script.
Right. Yeah.
I'm glad
it's
that she was able to redeem herself with this movie.
Julia Garner was in the top 5 and bottom 5 movies of the year.
I think again, like the storytelling of it, the non-linear narrative, And I think he was highly influenced by Magnolia, another one of my favorite films of all time. And it just works. And I think he put himself into the story and was telling a personal story in a not obvious way that comes out to be super compelling. And yeah, I mean, it stands out as like, without looking at the list of movies of new releases this year, it was obvious to be like, well, obviously Weapons. Like, even the ones that I really liked, like Bring Her Back and, you know, The Ugly Stepsister, it's not top of mind. But Weapons is top of mind. Like, I'm so glad that that movie exists, and I will rewatch it, you know?
Yeah, I agree.
Any honorable mentions for good or bad?
I think there's a place for him. I think just because it didn't connect with us this go around. I was not a fan. It was telling an interesting story to me, I think.
I give an honorable mention to Companion again. Honorable mention for me is The Monkey. That was almost in my top 5.
Yeah.
You guys did not like it as much as I did, but it landed for me. Like, I thought the balance of like the absurdist humor worked for me, but it didn't work for a lot of people.
Monkey! That's an example of the laughs we have here.
Just a little example of the laughs we have here.
Other honorable mentions, not fantastic, but was really enjoyable. Hard Eyes, I thought, was another great playful genre.
Did Hard Eyes come out this year?
Yeah, Hard Eyes came out this year.
I liked Hard Eyes.
Hard Eyes was good. That was probably one of the only examples of a actual meld of a rom-com and horror. I can't think of any other rom-com horror.
Yeah, that one, and for a slasher especially, like, I thought it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Honorable mention for Terrible. Together was a huge disappointment for me.
Yeah.
Already talked about The Long Walk. Good Boy was also not terrible, but kind of a disappointment.
Until Dawn.
Until Dawn you liked. You gave that one an 8.
No way I gave that an 8. You're lying to me.
You gave that an 8.
No. You have that wrong.
I don't know. We'll go back to the tape.
Dude, if I gave that an 8, I can't trust myself. What on the earth would I have done that for?
Okay, let's oh yeah, let me see any other dishonorable mentions among the non-new releases.
Final Destination Bloodlines.
See, I like that one. I thought that one worked, but I mean, not great, not
It was
terrible.
fine. It just wasn't good to me. Oh, Conjuring Last Rites is just overplayed, overdone, ready to be retired. I'm actually, now that I'm thinking about it, why was Black Phone 2 not on any of my lists? I feel like Black Phone 2 was relatively good.
Yeah, Black Phone 2, I think everyone let's go to the stats real quick. What are you interested in hearing about? Because I've sliced this data a lot of different ways.
I mean, you take the lead because I don't know where you're going with that.
Okay, so combined average score for all the movies we reviewed was a 6.82. So about a 7 out of 10 was our average score. Combined for all new releases was 6.35, so a little lower. You'll like this. For my picks, the average combined score out of all of this was 7.88.
Pretty solid.
For you, it was 8.67. So you had the highest out of your picks. You had the highest average.
You know what? That means a lot to me because this year I really focused on picking movies that needed to be talked about in Horror Movie Talk, not movies that I wanted to review. But like The Sixth Sense, like I had watched that not too long ago, and so I could have done without rewatching it and talking about it, but it's just such a classic. How could you miss it? So I'm glad we were able to do that stuff.
Sydney's picks average 7. So his was the lowest, but not, I mean, we're all around 6, 7 or 8 in our picks. The patron picks, the picks that the patrons picked was 6.51, so it was actually lowest. That was the lowest.
Yeah, because the patrons have ass takes, dude.
Well, I think there's a bit of it that they want to see us suffer sometimes. Like,
it's true.
City of the Living Dead.
They chose Strange Darling, didn't they?
They chose Strange Darling too. It's a mixed bag. I mean, they picked Hush. They had a lot of good picks, a lot of bad picks. Let's see. The combine. I already said that. Okay, do you want to know your average score? Again, this is all pretty similar. This isn't actually that interesting. We're all about 7 out of 10 for our average score as well.
What's mine?
I was 6.9. You were 6.6. Sydney was 6.8. So
weird. I feel like last year ours were a lot higher than yours. We were giving higher scores than you.
Yeah, let's see. Last year I was a lot higher. I was 8.7.
Oh.
You were 7 and Sydney was 6. So we've kind of evened out. I think our tastes are starting to align a little. Oh yeah, the average difference between, so like the deviation between our scores, we're averaging at about 0.89 is the average difference between all movies reviewed, and 0.84 is the average difference for all new releases. So
pretty close.
We're all within 1. I think the largest deviation, let me see.
Was it in the dark?
The biggest difference we had was on Scary Movie. You gave it a 3.
Yeah.
And me and David gave it a 10. Sydney gave it a 7. The next most extreme was the Neon Demon. Sydney gave it a 10, you gave it a 5, and I gave it a 4.
Neon Demon is nowhere close to a 10.
Say again?
Neon Demon is nowhere close to a 10. That's crazy.
Yeah. Same thing with a lot of the biggest differences were Sydney's picks. So I think actually all of them, other than Scary Movie. So In the Dark, The Long Walk, and Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me all got 10s from Sydney, and you gave The Long Walk a 10, but everything else was pretty mid for us.
I've decided that I do not like David Lynch movies.
We agreed on perfect 10s for Beetlejuice, The Sixth Sense, Nosferatu, and Weapons. Nosferatu is not really included this year.
Those are kind of all givens. I feel like none of those are hot takes.
All right, number of episodes. You'll love this. Max, you did 20 episodes were you produced.
I produced 20 out of 52?
53. I produced 18 out of 53, and Sydney produced 15.
Dude, I'm such a fucking hard worker. Oh my gosh.
You'll like this too. I calculated the total downloads for last year for all of our episodes, all the episodes that we produced. Bottom was me. All my episodes got about 25,000, 26,000 downloads. And Sydney also got about 26,000 downloads, even though he had 3 less than me. And you got 32,000 out of your episodes. So
Dude, I remember we were talking about it like halfway through the year where you were like, oh yeah, these are our top 3 episodes so far. And I was like, those are all my episodes.
the top episodes, actually, most of the top episodes were Sydney's that he produced. But yeah, on average, you had the higher downloads.
Hey, I'll take it. This was my year, huh?
Uh-huh. So top in terms of downloads, and this is a little skewed because like stuff like The Sixth Sense just came out last week, so it's not going to have as many downloads. But The Weapons was the top episode for the year. And then Final Destination Bloodlines was second. And then 28 years later, Bring Her Back and The Long Walk were the next ones.
Hey, when you're right, dude. The new releases are what people want to hear about.
Yeah, I mean, out of the top 10, 9 were new releases.
Wow.
The only one that wasn't a new release was Lake Mungo.
Ha! The worst episode ever produced by Horror Movie Talk. I'm so bummed about that episode.
Yeah. Well, you re-released that one, didn't you?
I did, but I think the damage was too far gone. It was like a week later.
So some of that might have been from re-downloads. Maybe. But who's to say?
Dude, that conversation was hilarious too, and people took it the wrong way. I mean, you can't force people to be bad guys. You know what I mean? And when you have people talking about some very bad things, it's very easy to force them into being a bad guy. But you know what? Those conversations were funny.
Well, most of it was you guys throwing me under the bus.
Yes, but the thing is, you were the throwing under the bus was you were like, hey, if a country makes a law, what do I do? You know, you gotta abide by the law. And I was like, yes, but still icky. And then the random viewers who probably weren't even fans of the show were like, that actually is pedophilia and you're disgusting. And I'm gonna leave a 1-star review.
Right. I mean, fair enough. You know, I mean, hard to argue with that, but you know. I'm trying to find out where our most interaction came from. I think I can tell you right now, our most comments, the video with the most comments was definitely Scary Movie.
Ooh.
That had the most, you know.
We've had a turbulent year.
Yeah, we probably also lost the most subscribers because of that. But
you know what? We tried things. We tried things this year.
Yeah, we tried to do things. No one can say
we didn't try things.
Not everything works. And it's fine, you know. In the end, we're doing about as good as we did last year anyway, so who's to say what works?
That's not good, but it's not bad. It's a little bad, but it's not terrible.
Okay, I think that's all kind of the interesting stats I have. It's interesting looking at like the top scores in retrospect because some of it's like maybe I was a little too generous, and some of them where you give low scores, you're like, maybe I was too generous.
Yeah.
Like some of these mid ones, I look at it now, I'm like, yeah, that's probably should be a little lower, you know.
Listen,
Clown on the Cornfield is probably actually worse than a 4 that I gave it.
If we're having 50 episodes a year, we got to give out at least 5 1s each.
Yeah. Well, you know, you got to save them for stuff like Friday Nights at Freddy's or Five Nights at Freddy's.
I think the problem is we skew up because we're picking movies we like, and most new releases are just fine.
Yeah, and you don't want to watch bad movies, you know?
Right.
All right, well, that's it for the year in review. Thank you so much for joining us. Let us know your top 5s and bottom 5s of the year in the comments. And looking forward to the new year. Lots of great new releases coming out in 2026 and coming out in January, actually. So this month is going to be pretty busy. We've got Return to Silent Hill. We got Scream 7, The Bone Temple. Another Evil Dead is coming out this year. So
dude, don't.
We'll see how 2026 goes.
Don't make me do that.
I will say, if you're interested in coming on the show and helping us host, or if you have any interest in becoming more active with Horror Movie Talk, we're going to do kind of a slow roll, audition process. I'd still like the idea of having 3 hosts share the load. I think it's a good dynamic. I would say
emphasis on slow roll, because we already have 2 people who've reached out to us wanting to do an episode and have already said they could, and we don't have plans to do that yet. So if you are just now hearing this and want to try your luck at an episode, it might be a while.
Yeah, it'll be a while. That's why I'm saying the slow roll, because it'll take some time to get through everyone, and who knows. But yeah, just trying to find someone eventually that meshes, has good, what do they call it?
Feng shui,
charisma, riz, what do they call? What is the word I'm looking for? It has good chemistry with us too. So, anyways, check us out on Patreon. Check us out on all the places. Leave us a review. Be nice. Love you. Bye.
Bye.